Welcome everybody here for the FTF Grand National Series for the FTF Thunder 100 live here on the STN Racing Network. I'm Mark Zabeka here alongside Eric Webler and Will Rogers to bring you this race.
This is going to be an exciting one here. We got 59 cars. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm real excited for this though.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. I had no idea I was doing this as of 30 minutes ago, so I'm delighted to be here. There are only a few cars that I'm rooting for in the field, and yes, I will be a biased media member tonight.
Excellent. I am just so excited to be here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, ready to watch these 59 drivers battle here. Kane Cook is our quick time on the pole out here today, followed by Brian Mercurio and Spencer Esports Burns. They should all be some pretty heavy hitters in this race.
Absolutely. We see my boy, Brad Perez, in the living room dance floor number 30 Chevrolet. Let me say that again. Living room dance floor is something you're going to hear a lot tonight, so really stoked to see him in the field. And we've got another buddy of mine, Dalen Barr, further back in the field. He qualified terribly.
You know,
Yes.
59 cars, it's like, it makes you think, like, because who's really got a shot here? You always think about the, starting position. Does it matter where you start? But if you're starting back in 55th, do you have a chance to win this race? I think everyone's got that shot today.
I think so. Absolutely. I mean, I don't know how many laps we're running here. 150 laps, I think, right? Or
134 laps.
Sorry,
to be exact,
doing my math, catching up again. I'm only 30 minutes fresh into this, guys. But I think that absolutely, there's so many cars here. They're going to see a lot of wrecks happen, a lot of cautions. I feel like if you play your pit road strategy the right way, dodge those wrecks, you can see the front pretty quickly.
Yeah, another driver I'd like to shout out here quickly, who's a current or usual viewer of the STN streams, is Warren Rosario, making his debut and return to iRacing with a solid 12th place qualifying run. Shout out to Warren.
I'm proud of Warren there. That's, and I got to give myself a little plug here with, I just started doing iRacing a week ago, so this is cool to get into this, be a part of the crew here for the broadcast. I appreciate this, guys. This is going to be a great race.
As the pace car is off, we're going to see Kane Cook lead all 59 of these guys to the green with Brian Mercurio to his outside. A little bit of a late start as they stack him up there on the front stretch. Kane Cook gets out to a pretty big commanding lead as they're 3 wide for second behind him.
Wow, looking like me on a restart at a place just like Charlotte Motor Speedway last year for the Roval. Oh, as the caution, it seems like, comes back out here.
Yeah, it looks like we had some trouble there.
Did this one here.
There must have been something in the back that decided to throw this one.
It looks like that Hulu car is the one that really stacked everybody up. It's funny, that's a green and white car too. Man, I know karma's coming back to bite me for that one.
Let's see here.
Sorry, Michael Annette.
There's just a lot of cars out here.
Looks like a 0 here. I'm just gonna go back to live.
So I'm very technology ignorant, guys. I only see about 20 cars on my screen. Are there actually 60 out there?
There are 60. Your drawing distance is most likely just set to 20.
Ah, Big 10-4.
Very graphic intensive race for us to be a hold of today, but we are definitely going to make it work.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm holding hope. I think not just me, but all the drivers in the field here are just hoping that our computers just hold together here.
Did it die? And 4. I think I see all my cars now.
Yeah, I'm going to try to see if that works. Let's see if my computer explodes.
I believe we're going to be having some scoring issues here because of the fucking caution. And we are back here live at Charlotte with a currently radio-only style broadcast due to some technical difficulties, but we stay under caution here with some scoring issues.
Did we happen to find out who got an accident there? Because I still didn't manage to see it.
I am not quite sure who caused that accident, but we have a lot of stuff that we're trying to figure out right now.
Lots of cars.
Yeah.
It ain't just issues on track.
Guys, I don't think all the cars have crossed the start-finish line yet, and we're in the middle of 1 and 2. That's incredible. I know it's spaced out at the moment, but dang, that's a lot of cars for Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yeah. I'm trying to understand exactly what's going on here because I see some cars behind the pace car that just currently are not the leader, and it's just confusing, to say
Yeah,
the
we got
least.
3 cars. Andy Mango, Nick Baker, and Craig Hawkins all behind the pace car for some reason.
So there's a
But then they're double file.
So there's a bug at iRacing, also high, where if the caution comes out when not everybody's taken the start, it'll put those cars at the tail end of the lead lap. So that's most likely what's happening now. I'm not unloading back into the server, so we'll see if I can confirm that, but that's most likely what's happened.
Yeah, I believe when, because it was an admin thrown caution, when they threw it because of the restart wreck, it messed up the scoring because half the field was taking the green, the other half was still not under green flag condition.
We continue to pace around here, Charlotte. We are 5 laps in. I'm ready to see some green flag racing. So what's going on?
Yeah, I'm definitely ready to see some action around this 1.5 mile racetrack.
Are we still audio only? So currently our leader is Kane Cook in the 055, and we got Brian Mercurio second, Spencer Esports Burns, Joey Bailey, and Dylan. Is it Alt?
Yeah, guys, I didn't realize I'd be joining the Pace Laps FTF Thunder 150. This is going to be a long night. If it goes on much longer, might have to bail on you.
Yeah, that would definitely be unfortunate. Hopefully we can get some green flag racing here as an incentive to keep our other analyst, Will Rogers, in the booth.
May I mention ignorant analysts? That is who I am.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And then you got me. I just don't know what's going on. So I am the blonde analyst because I'm actually blonde. And it all
I'm
works
also
out.
blonde, so that is also working out for us.
I
right.
can confirm this.
Yes.
I'm
And I
also
think we're back
having a nice
on the
beverage.
visuals.
All right.
Yes, a nice tall glass of water for our boy Eric Webler.
Yeah, I only drink water.
Gotta stay hydrated.
Absolutely, same here.
Especially
I am a
with the summer
huge advocate
peaking.
for water.
You know, a lot of people give hate to Dasani, and I feel like that's misguided. Dasani's delicious.
I do not
And-
agree with you.
All right, you know.
All right. Well, it looks like we have the one to go here now that we are done debating water. They are double filed up, and Brian Mercurio and Kane Cook are ready to bring this field back to green flag and hopefully stay there for a little bit longer.
I'm curious to see how the Highline's gonna hold up here on the restart. You know, does it gonna matter where they're picking high or low? 60 cars. I mean, hopefully they get through. Well, 59 cars. Hopefully they get through turns 1 and 2 and still green after that. Is it
Yeah,
okay to say I might doubt that?
Guys, I'm just excited to not hear Kyle Riley on the radio because we will be green. Because that guy has absolutely been destroying his radio frequency this entire time.
Well, yes, the race control is definitely an important asset to this race, but they are speaking a lot, and we are trying to do this broadcast as Kane Cook and Brian Mercurio are going to come off of turn number 4, and the pace car is going to pull in.
Pace truck. At least that's what I got.
Pace truck is going to pull in and Kane Cook will lead these boys to the green flag. As they are green, Brian Mercurio gets caught sleeping on the restart. Kane Cook gets out to a commanding lead as Spencer Esports Burns gets to the bottom side of the racetrack, and he will be followed in there by the 40 car of Dylan Alt. These guys will be trying to reel in Kane Cook after that insane restart he had right there, getting out to a commanding lead.
Mercurio's going to fall back here, battling for third with Dylan Alt, but we got battle for fifth as well. Derek Justice trying to get underneath the 19 as we come out of 4.
Absolutely. We see Brian Mercurio there falling back. I think this is just strategy for you guys. Also, fun fact, Brian Mercurio is a cheater. I run against him in iRacing all the time. He's very, very fast, and there's no explanation. So, hence, cheating.
Unfortunately,
Good to know.
Our good friend Dalen M. Barr has manually disconnected from the servers. That's a tough scene if you're a Dalen
Rip.
Barr fan. F's in chat for that one. Now, Derek Justice looks like he's going to be able to get the advantage over Joey Bailey in the number 19 car, as he's able to clear him off of turn number 4.
Kane Cook's going to continue to lead here. 06 and 40 still your podium.
Guys, looking at a hard charger, this is going to be my guy to watch tonight. I said it once before, and I'm going to say it again probably many more times. That living room dance floor number 30, Brad Perez. He started 17th. He's up to 16th. That's going to be a hard charger tonight.
Yes, our DL Performance driver, Brad Perez, always one to watch out here, especially at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, where he has participated in the summer shootout events. Very fast here in the number 30 car, for sure.
Yes, the wall knows him very well.
Yes, we are seeing drivers dropping, manually disconnecting from the server left and right. I see some of them are just not finding any fun in 60 cars around here, but we will be sure to continue this broadcast as it is going to be an exciting one for sure.
Guys, what I've noticed so far is, yes, we've had one caution at the beginning of this race because of a technical difficulty, but no cautions yet. What the heck with 60 cars? This is unbelievable.
This is a group of professionals, and we got to remember that here. These guys know what they're doing. Even if there is 59 cars racing, that first lap was the start of the race was a fluke there.
Yeah, these guys are just going to try to bide their time, especially knowing that this field is immense and the lap mount is definitely one of the longer races this season for these guys. So they just got to get out there, try to make this first run and get some new tires and fill her up with gas and just try to keep going, and hopefully not another caution will come out.
Oh, I love me some virtual Sunoco race fuel.
It looks like the top 7 cars have been able to distance themselves from the pack behind them. You got Austin Johnson leading that, I guess, a pack of 8 cars, even though it's not necessarily a pack race. That's just how I describe things.
No, I like your description there. You've got this breakaway 8 cars. You're looking at the Haley Deegan Skeen car, looking to close out that 8 car pack there, breaking away. It seems like these guys have the right idea, not racing side by side, wanting to gap themselves from the rest of the field. I think that'll help out on strategy if we start to see green flag stops here.
Now, I'm curious if something happened here. I'm surprised they fell back so much, but I think they just ended up sliding back a little farther. The front 7 just that much better right now.
Yeah, definitely. Guys are just falling into their little groups and just trying to keep the car underneath them for the distance of this race.
It seems that Michael Cozy was up there in the top 10. He has fallen back to 18th place finish, or 18th place finish, wow. 18th place right now. He was in front of Austin Johnson, or Evan Rice down in front of Austin. So I'm not sure what happened there.
Not sure, but Evan Rice here leading the rest of the field. He's starting to break away a little bit, but I will say now looking at that paint scheme, I think the reason he's falling back, guys, is when you put that paint scheme on your car, you lose about 10 horsepower. So we might see him drop like a rock here later. But guys behind him like the 54 and Warren Rosario in the 6, they're running him pretty good. They might catch right back up.
Yeah, I'm very impressed by the pace shown today by the 6 of Rosario. He's definitely somebody that I enjoy to see on the iRacing service, especially running this competitive in a field with a bunch of heavy hitters.
Really no change here at the front of the field. Still Kane Cook, still Spencer Esports Burns, Dylan Alt, Ryan Mercurio. Looks like these guys are just pacing right now. They're just holding their ground, waiting for something to happen behind them.
And speaking of not pacing, back to my ones to watch for the race, that living room dance floor number 30, driven by Brad Perez. He's up to 13th, guys. I know it didn't look like he was moving quickly at first, but now he's on a charge.
Yeah, he's definitely catching the sights of that pack with Rosario and Evan Rice, as well as Austin Johnson up there. He's right in their clutches, and he could be around them here in as short as a few laps.
I wouldn't doubt it, and I know he has a game plan when he gets there. Brad is one of the smartest racers I've ever raced with. I'm very proud to call him one of my friends and say that he's a weird cat, but man, that dude can race a car.
Yes, indeed. I'd also like to thank him for allowing me to have 2 slices of his Little Caesars pizza for dinner tonight. Without that, I probably would have had to drive up to Wendy's or somewhere and grab myself a meal.
Mark, have you ever eaten a salad?
I have eaten a salad, and I actually probably would have just gotten one from Viva Chicken.
Kicking
I don't know
yourself
what
now,
a
aren't
Viva
you?
Chicken is.
Anyway, back to this race. Enough with the sponsor plugs. Brian Mercurio is always one to watch out here on the FTF Grand National Circuit, as he's just one of these heavy hitters every week. Up there in the point standings, it definitely could be a good day for him, as one of his points rivals, Blake Reynolds, is just not here. So he could try to get some of those so valuable playoff points to try to snooker him in the playoffs.
Well, guys, one thing I can say is Chris Wetz, maybe a name you're not familiar with, but some of us are. Started 15th, now he's back to 16th. I don't know why he's fallen back. I just kind of anticipate that to happen more tonight, as people do try to wreck him. Watch out for that.
If we look further back in the pack, we got Adam Cole. He's fallen back a little bit here. He was up high, and it looks like they've settled in place here. That was the battle for 43rd, I believe. But right now we got, is that Blake Terowick? I'm mispronouncing last
Blake
names
Trewick,
here.
I believe, is the
Trewick.
proper leg. Yes.
Don't mind me. I don't know how to speak.
Yeah,
Total's
words are
just fast.
definitely hard.
He's just falling back here. I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah, another battle I'd like to look at on the track is the battle between Matt Wishart and I believe that is the one car of Dylan Smith ahead of him. Yes, they are very close friends, and Matt Wishart is also a close friend of mine, as we had to share the living room here the other night. I welcomed him to the couches that I sleep on in here, and he's a very nice friend of mine and a good driver, and I expect to see him make some more headway on this field.
A couple more battles a little farther back here. Battles for 42nd. It's like Chris Progar. He's been able to. Oh, he's going to get a bumper maybe. Like Trewick, he's going to be looking inside, but he falls back in line.
Guys, we're lap 22, coming to lap 23 from what I understand here. And Eric Messer, it looks like he's just coming off pit road. It looks like he's got some damage. I doubt that was a strategy play, just now looking at his car as he gets loose coming out of turn 4. But I was wondering if people were starting to pit under green flag here.
Something that I have picked up on here is the 55 of Mike Fallon and the 39 of Arnold Columbia are both started 49th and 50th in the field, and they are up to 33rd and 34th with a pack of cars ahead of him that they could very easily overtake. So this is definitely something to see, is we can see guys gaining upwards of 30 spots and still not be inside of the top 10. Arnold Columbia also has a very interesting strategy here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, where he uses the AstroTurf as a way to find extra grip out on the racetrack, as he slightly cuts the dog leg and the first dog leg in the quad oval here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Very interesting strategy, as we see the caution is out here on the racetrack. We see a stalled car in the middle of the track. I will try to see who that is. Didn't quite catch him. It looks like it's the 72 of Chris Wetz that is idle in the middle of the track.
And guys, what did I say about 3 minutes ago? Watch for Chris Wetz to be just absolutely obliterated tonight.
Yeah, it looks like he had a little bit of help there.
Doesn't sound like people are too happy with Chris Wetz.
Oh, it looks like he got a little bit of credit for holding the brake, actually, which is something that a lot of people don't understand how to do, surprisingly enough, being a racing game. But, nonetheless, I will give props to Chris Wetz for not releasing that brake pedal.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm checking it out here. Looks like at the 37, Spencer Preet goes to make it pass on the inside. Wetz comes down. They both connect. Shieldhouse gets right into the back of the 72. And then my screen goes dark.
Yeah, we do see Chris Wetz come to a rest there, and everybody parts like the sea going straight around him. Luckily, nobody else got into that wreck with him.
We're also seeing guys coming in for service here under caution, but before we get to the pit stops, I would like to point out before they started pitting, Galen Battle was up from the 46th spot up to the 22nd position. So that was a pretty nice charge to the field for Battle, and he has a pretty cool name out there. I'll definitely say that Jalen Battle is a name that I feel kind of threatened by, but I enjoy it in this race.
I hope he doesn't battle me,
Yes, yeah.
Wow,
like,
thank you for other people throwing dad jokes around me. Now I don't look so bad.
I also think of a name that jumps out to me, and I know the guy, John Dragon Eddie, last name says Dragon in it. What? Scares me. But a name that doesn't scare me is our leaders, Kane Cook and then Spencer Burns. It's normal names.
Looks like Brian Mercurio used the cheat code and picked up a spot off the pit road. He's sitting pretty in P3. That's exactly where I'd want to be, sitting right behind Kane Cook if I had a choice to be on that second row. Being on the inside, get that thing down on that blue line, hook it, and try to get that nice drive off of turn 2 coming down to turn 3.
Not to battle that, as we talked about Jalen Battle before, but not. Brian Mercurio actually picked up a spot on Dylan Alt before the caution came out. Happened to notice that, and Mark was talking for a long time, so couldn't get that one in.
I see. Well, I stand assured that Brian Mercurio did not submit his cheat code yet, but watch out for it, folks, because it will come.
Go back to that.
Another driver I'd like to give a shout out to is Keith Yolanda Sherman, a longtime friend of mine, a good driver out here, always a regular on the FTF Grand National circuit. And I wish him the best in this race, as he's had some troubles with his computers, but he's been back recently, and he's just out here plugging away.
That's really nice. I'm looking at a couple people in the top 20 here, and a few names that jump out to me. It's Franklin Ash, who's in 7th place right now. Not sure if pit strategy worked out there for him, but he is up to 7th from starting 56th. Also, a little bit farther back, we got Craig Hawkins, who started very last of this field, 59th place. He's up to 18th. And then Max Brady, who's in 20th, he started 41st. So a lot of drivers have made their way through the field. Don't know if pit strategy has anything to do with that, but let's see how they hang on here as we are still pacing, but coming to the green flag soon.
And guys, one thing before we come to the green flag, I want to mention Michael P. Frisch. Isn't that guy pro? He has made it from a total of 44th on the grid to currently running 39th. Michael, if you're listening to this, what's up, dude?
Come on, Michael P.
Michael P. Frisch is actually in the road to pro, so not quite pro yet, but hopefully he will be there.
Well, I'm still salty, okay? We ran a race the other week, and Michael wrecked me out of second place, third place, something like that. Anyway, Michael, you and I still aren't even. It's okay, bro. I guess you're getting a little bit of your karma tonight, so you go ahead and have fun top 30, bud.
Looks like we are double file here. Going to go green as we get to the start-finish line next time by. Our leaders look the same. Kane Cook, Spencer Burns, Ryan Mercurio, Dylan Alt, and Tyler Gary.
Oh,
Guys,
wow.
I keep saying it, and you're gonna hear me say it a lot, and you're gonna get sick of it. But that living room dance floor number 30, Brad Price, he's up to 11th, guys, almost inside the top 10. This is a guy that's gonna challenge for the win. I guarantee it.
We'll have to get this guy in here soon and talk about his race, see how he's feeling.
Absolutely.
As we are gonna be going green on lap 29.
It looks like Kane Cook and Spencer Esports Burns are going to bring them in to come to the green flag here. The pace car is in, and Kane Cook will slowly bring them down to the restart zone. And we are green again at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Kane Cook, another one of those great restarts as Spencer Esports Burns fumbles the bag on that restart, and Brian Mercurio will get underneath him and overtake him for the second place position.
And he is off to a flying start.
Oh, we got a car that is a little squirrely. It looks like it's Ryan. What's his last name? Trying to look for him on here. The caution's out. The 02.
Well, Kane Cook
Rick-
had a hell of a restart, but unfortunately, due to Ryan 02, he lost it all.
Naraki. Something happened here.
Now, with that caution, I think we can bring in our in-race reporter, Brad Perez, and get a word with him, possibly.
Absolutely, let's do that. I'll do the honors of leading him in here, boys.
Brad Perez, this is the STN Racing booth. Do you have a copy?
What?
Do you have a copy?
I have a printer. Yes. Hello.
Ah, yes.
Hey, Brad Perez, this is Will Rogers and Mark Spedka, Eric Weebler, and Zach Johnson up at the booth.
Webbler.
Dude, you are making a heck of a run coming from, I can't remember where you started, 17th or 18th. Now you're up to top almost 10. I've been saying it all night. That living room dance floor, number 30 Chevrolet is going to be contending for top 10, if not win here. So give us a little bit of rundown on what the race has been like so far, your mood, maybe give us a little bit of a vibe check.
Oh wow, that was a great plug there, Will. I appreciate that. I'm just kind of vibing over here. First run, I was just saving tires and just seeing how this race was going to play out, and seeing that now we're just going to start wrecking. I think I'm in a really good place, and I'm just not going to take tires until I physically have to, and I think we'll be in good shape.
Absolutely. Don't mind the plug. I'll just expect a royalty check in the mail, brother. It's all good. But looking forward to watching you come back through the field, hopefully avoid some of these wrecks, stay out of the carnage. And I think, again, if I'm right, I'm placing my bets.
Thanks, bud. Nice job betting after I do a thing. That makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely.
Yep.
That's what I'm here for.
100%.
I appreciate you.
Now, Brad, I see you are right behind our resident Canadian in the field, Warren Rosario. How impressed are you with his pace out there?
Well, I think he's doing a really good job. You know, it looks like he came out of nowhere. I'm used to him driving under a certain somebody's nomenclature, but it seems like he's really making a name for himself as himself. So.
Oh, yes, definitely making a name for himself out here today.
Definitely, that Ford Performance Racing School Ford looks pretty dang good. I love it. It looks pretty.
Yes, hopefully we see the two of you guys battling it out here with Brian Mercurio, another resident sim racer.
Brian's okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so we will let you get back to focusing on your race strategy and trying to keep that 30 living room dance floor Chevy Camaro for the Dio Performance Stable clean.
Thank you, boys. We're taking it back to China Grove.
Get
All
that bread.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Drive safe.
And guys, thanks for Brad Perez for joining us up in the booth there. That was awesome to get that insight. But what I definitely want to touch on is he said Ford and then Ford Performance several times. I want to point out, as some of my other fellow commentators said, there are a ton of Fords in this field tonight. Why?
I think old Etzel just had to bring the checkbook out, I guess.
You know, I was wondering this before we got started, and it's just Ford seems the way to go. I don't know. The car I bought for iRacing is a Supra, so maybe I should have bought a Ford. Maybe they know something that I don't.
Well, I think you joined the list of 10 people on the service that have actually purchased the Supra. Congratulations.
Well, I
Thank
am
you.
definitely. We have 2 of the 10 in this room then, because I also drive the Supra.
So do I.
Thank you, Mark, for making me look less dumb.
Yes, I have
and
to.
actually, I think
another-
making Will look just a little bit dumber, for that comment he made.
Hey guys, that's all right. Again, I'm here to be the ignorant one. They call me a pro, but am I really?
I don't know, but
You're a pro in my
since we
books.
were on the topic of Supras, I just got to plug my boys over at Sam Hunt Racing and Colin Garrett, driver the number 26 Toyota Supra. Shout out to those guys, and yeah.
And guys, I can attest to that super mentality. Nobody really wants to be in it because, at least from my perspective, especially at a place like Charlotte Motor Speedway, on the last lap of, let's say, said Roval, let's say said last year, and I had a Supra, come up right behind me and knock me right out of the race. So, am I a little salty? Maybe.
Probably, but we are on the 1 to green lap here as the pace truck lights are out, and we are getting ready to go green here once again at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
I'm pretty sure Kane Cook here has led every lap, or at least it seemed like it. Doesn't matter. But Brian Mercurio now starting on the high lane. Let's see if he can do something this time. As last time he started on the high lane, he fell back pretty. I don't know. I think I'm running out of words. He got put back to 4th. It was I'm just gonna stop talking.
Yeah,
Yes, Eric, we do English here.
Yeah, like I said, I'm enjoying a nice tall glass of water, and it starts to get to you.
It was definitely a tough scene, but as the pace car goes in, Kane Cook is
And-
already launched
Oh
by
my
the time.
goodness, I think there needs to be a black flag.
I don't
But-
believe that is against the terms and services of iRacing, but Spencer Esports Burns has overtaken his low-line racing teammate Brian Mercurio once again.
I think this
on
is the
that
first
restart.
time we've seen Tyler Gary get up to the top 3. He gets in front of Brian, but Brian Mercurio now going to dip inside and try to take that 3rd place back.
Yeah, Tyler Gary, another resident grape drink competitor out here. Shout out to him, but yeah, looks like the inside line is definitely the way to go on these restarts because anyone that's restarted in 2nd has just absolutely tanked on these restarts. Trying to hold his own, though, is Brian Mercurio.
As one would know from personal experience, if you don't have that peanut butter and jelly laid down up top at Charlotte, it's really hard to roll the top. So obviously the service has not applied those factors yet, and it looks like you're right, Mark. The blue line is the way to go.
Yes, I see you are still somewhat mixing me up with Brad because we are both Florida men. Anyway, as we look back around the 38th position, Kyle Riley is in a hornet's nest of cars right now, as he has Ryan Pandisco near him, as we have another yellow on the speedway. We will try to figure out what that one was.
I'm following Jake here. I don't know.
I have not yet seen any idle cars to
Looks like everybody got back going.
I believe it was the 91 of Philip Kraus that was in the wreck.
Yes, it just looks like he didn't make his initial slip angle throughout the tri-oval there prominent enough for the 78 to kind of judge it, and or maybe the 78 just had a little bit of a vendetta against him and said, you know what, I'm just going to turn you, and it turned out turning him anyway.
Yeah, definitely, as we see Will Rogers pull out the big brain 1000 IQ vocabulary on us today.
Again, we English here.
Yes, 100%. We definitely do. Now, Brad Perez up to the 12th position as we check in on him once again.
Absolutely. Our boy Brad, unfortunately,
Looks like
he's
we're gonna
lost
see
a
some
spot
pit
or
stops
so.
here.
But we're going to be going down in pit road here. At least some cars are faking,
couple
some cars
cars.
are going. Looks like our boy Brad Perez is making on the pit road. He's got a nice gap in front of him. So hopefully he can maintain coming off pit road here.
It looks like we have Brad Perez in the booth with us once again. Brad, it's not been that long since we have spoken to you, but...
All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wheel straight, foot on the right.
Yeah, all right. It looks like he's still talking
Wheel
to his
straight,
crew chief.
foot on Mark's face.
Hey, this thing sucks.
So, Brad,
Somebody do
obviously,
something.
You restarted P11 there, fell back a little bit. Looks like you might maintain your position off pit road. Don't speed, bud. What do you think happened there? What side? Yes, no me. Did you start on the bottom there or the top last time? I didn't see.
I started on the bottom and basically got held up by the guy in front of me. Just fell asleep, and it looks like the 26 car got a tip on when he was going, and he basically passed 4 cars on that restart. Pretty clever. I got to give it to him. I would have done the same thing if I could cheat.
I see, absolutely. And I pointed out to my fellow commentators here earlier, Brian Macario is in the field, and he is known as one of the biggest cheaters in iRacing, but it seems like he's not alone in this field tonight.
You got to give it to FTF. I mean, we breed cheaters. That's really how it goes over here.
BeLikeKing.exe, the famous EXE from the Enter 2003 days.
So, Brad, one more thing before we let you go here. You notice early on, our boy, the well-known Chris Wetz, gets involved in tonight's first legitimate caution. Do you have any feedback from that? Did you see it? Did you expect anything less?
That wreck was happening in Mecklenburg, and I'm in Kermis right now.
10-4. Thank you for the feedback. Back to you, Mark.
Yeah, we're going to let you go here, so drive safe out there, and don't forget to insert the chip reader.
10-4.
So after some pit strategy, Spencer Esports Burns has the lead, Dylan Alt second, Tyler Gary is in third, Evan Rice fourth, Austin Johnson in fifth. A couple names that have been a little bit down in the top 10 here, now seeing themselves in the top 5.
Guys, I was going to say, who are all these people? I feel like I'm up in the regular TV booth actually just being ignorant of everybody else in the field outside the top 5, so now I know what it's like to be in the booth.
I do see Ryan Williams. That's a name I know. Currently in 7th. Jalen Battle, who has the cool name award of the night. He is in 10th. So we'll see what they can do here.
We'll do a little. We'll do some shout outs through the field for people that aren't in the top 5. Brennan Hotkin is a resident good sim racer, regular around the FTF community. He seems to be out here. Ryan Williams, he's currently another guy that runs FTF quite frequently, also a graphic designer for the Junior Motorsports organization. Don Dragonetti, another fellow graphic designer. He actually designed the scheme that AJ Allmendinger won here with colleague racing at the Roval last fall that Will Rogers failed to win in. Yeah, he's out here. Max Brady, he is a Legends car driver in the Atlanta Motor Speedway Legends deal, I believe. He's teammates with Jonathan Taylor, a sim racer not in this race, but I recognize the name from there. Jalen Battle, as we said, cool guy, cool name of the war to race. Nathan Stewart, he I don't know much about him, but I do know he figured out how to drive on the wall at Irwindale, and his car looked pretty cool while doing that. Tyler Claybaugh, another resident sim racer and regular at FTF. He always drives really cool looking paint schemes, and he's roommates with Matt Wishart, another good friend of mine. Steve Abugier, he has a fun last name to say, and he's usually here. Michael Cozy Jr., prominent YouTuber and streamer, also runs the Starcom paint scheme quite often. I don't know the correlation there, but Derek Cope is definitely a driver that he enjoys.
Oh, I love
Dustin
Cozies.
Malillo, he is a FTF admin / owner / just big sim racing advocate and journalist for the Racing Experts. I do believe we are about to go green here, though, so Spencer Burns will actually be pacing the field here to this green flag.
Now, we got the guy who led the whole race up to this, Kane Cook. He is starting in the 18th position, Brian Mercurio 19th. So let's
Now
see
the pace
what those
car's in.
guys
Sorry
can
to
do.
cut you off. Spencer
fine.
Esports Burns is green here as he gets a very commanding restart from the bottom lane. As Tyler Gary seems to be able to get that advantage from being on the bottom and take Dylan Alt for 2nd place. Anyway, Eric, back to you.
Well, I was just wondering how these cars that did pit, how they're going to be able to get through the field here. I'm looking back at Kane Cook right now. It seems that they are about stable with everybody else, those guys who didn't pit. So maybe not pitting was the move there.
Absolutely. Looking at Kane Cook, our boy, Brad Perez, is slotted right behind him, or at least he was a second ago. Or no, he still is, currently. and hopefully he's going to follow him right to the field. Obviously, Kane Cook's got some great speed in that setup tonight, so maybe he can use that to an advantage, be a plow for our boy to get through the field.
Yeah, definitely. As you say that, though, we see the 55 of Mike Fallon almost get into the side of the 055 of Kane Cook, and that could have been huge for him and our boy Brad Perez. Looks like Michael Cozy Jr. is going to get alongside of him as Kane Cook is trying to work in that top side here with Brad Perez close on his bumper.
Looks like the 80 car is starting to fall back. That's John Dragonetti. He can't get down low. Tyler Clayball is going to be able to get around him here, or try to, with the 19 car that is Joey Bailey right behind him.
Kane Cook making moves out here. He finally got to the bottom. Unfortunately, hung our boy Brad Perez out to dry up on the top. But look for Kane to set sail.
Brad Perez is going to get sent by Michael Cozy. Not quite clear, and he's going to go through the infield grass as we stay green as he keeps it straight here. Over the Bojangle sign and out of the pit exit. And he's still not quite going to be in the last after that spin.
Rip.
Perks of being in a big field, I guess. But yeah, that unfortunate for our boy out there.
See, Kane Cook here, he's going to find himself right now behind the 80 car. Like I said, the 80 was falling back. 80 started up in 8th. He's back to 14th now. Kane Cook up 3 positions from where he started.
Yep. Well, guys, back to P7 here, looking at Ryan Williams, a guy that I do know in person, really nice guy, obviously puts together some great designs. Let's see if he can design himself back into the top 5 here. I think it's possible. Let's see what he does.
He's running really well. Started in 24th up to 7th now. Falling back a little bit from Austin Johnson, currently in 6th, but keeps on digging there in 7th. Spencer Esports Burns, he's pulled out to a little bit of a lead here.
Yes, Spencer Burns is usually a quick sim racer on the surface, and it is not unusual to see him with this lead, as we see Tyler Gary in 2nd. Tyler Gary I'm not quite familiar with, but I did have the pleasure of racing alongside him in the famous Grape Drink series hosted by Matt Wishart. He seemed to be a nice addition to the series as he was along for all of the antics out there, and I guess he's also a good sim racer as he's been in the top 10 hunt this entire race, so good to see him up there.
I decided to see who our last car on the lead lap was, and that is Andy Mango in the 48. Just doing his best out here.
Yes, Andy Mango, another regular of the FTF Grand National Division. He's always out here trying his hardest and just giving it his all. That's all we can ask for from him.
And we just like saying Andy Mango. I mean, I like saying it.
Yes, mangoes are definitely a fruit of choice for us in this TeamSpeak server and the STN Racing booth. It looks like Brad Perez has faltered around the 42nd position as he makes up the 41st spot on Franklin Ash, and Jake Poulin in sight to just try to make up, Rich Jameson in sight, who is a lap car. But Jake Poulin being the next car on the lead lap to make up as much spots as he can and just charge back through the field.
Rip.
Looking at some of the names who have fallen back here from when they started on that restart. Just another call to John Dragonetti, who's gone down 10 positions from his start. Not sure what's going on with him.
Looking at Kane Cook, he seems to still be making a charge here, marching towards the front. P13 now. I can't remember where he started on that restart, but
18th.
18th, making up a good amount of spots here. Total of 5 so far. We'll see how far he can go during this run.
Yeah, he's going to make a move here on Tyler Clayball.
Yeah,
probably take that position.
And
Ryan Mercurio right behind him.
Now that we've gotten somewhat into a run, let's make some picks to see who you guys think is going to end up in victory lane for this race, because we did not end up doing that on the start. Eric, we'll start with you. Who do you think is going to get this win?
Well, I keep looking at our pole sitter for this race, Kane Cook, and he's really starting to go through this field from where he started. But I really keep my eyes on our leader right now, Spencer Burns, who's just been able to pull out to a lead one. As lead has actually closed up with Tyler Gary, but I do think that right now, how things run, and if this goes green for a while, he's going to be the guy that is to beat here.
Now, Will, who do you think is going to be your pick for the race?
Well, guys, I know it sounds like it's been rough on him tonight, but Brian Mercurio in that 41 car, man, again, I feel like he's got this cheater mentality where he's going to break some kind of cheat code out, and he's going to figure out how to get that number 41, whatever the sponsor is, car in victory lane. I feel like he can do it. He's sticking right there with Kane Cook, running solid laps, letting Kane do all the work, making sure that he can capitalize nicely. Hopefully he saves some rubber underneath those tires.
Yeah, he's going to follow, actually, Kane Cook here. But, Mark, I totally interrupted you there for your pick.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would go, Brian and Kane are definitely guys that I'd like to look at, as well as Spencer Burns, but I think I'm going to go a little bit outside of the box on this one, and I'm going to give a call to Sean Butler. He's one of the quietly fast guys in this series, always up front, but I don't feel like he gets the love that he deserves on the races, especially the ones that I've done broadcasts for. But he had a great qualifying effort with a 4th place, and I'd really like to see him mix it up there in the front. So yeah, I'm going to go with Sean Butler.
Well, yeah. Mark, I'd also love $1 million in my bank account, but we don't all get what we want, do we?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it just do be like that.
You know, we were mentioning drivers back to like Kane Cook, Brian Mercurio, who are making their way through the field. Kane Cook already up to the top 10. But a name I'm noticing who's usually up near the front, Derek Justice. We haven't said his name a lot since the beginning. He started up front, fell back a little bit. Now he's back with those leaders, and he's on that pit stop strategy, and he's just following the 055 and the 41. So he might be a sleeper here that usually isn't a sleeper.
Speaking of the 055, we see Kane Cook making a move on Ryan Williams, and look at that, Brian Mercurio falling right through, just like I was saying, guys. By the way, Mark, I was just about to say, what's going on in the chat? And we got our boy, RTRV, the Rhino, Ryan Vargas, wanting to call in. What do you guys say we let him in the old booth?
I say we don't. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, if he can,
I'm with you.
If he can get on the TeamSpeak, we can throw him into the booth here and give us a little
Ryan,
welcome.
Go ahead and try your best to get in the booth. It's a long walk up here. No rush. And with all that said, Kane Cook back up to 7th here, marching his way through the field. I feel like this strategy, guys, is probably the right way to go. Again, my pick, Brian Mercurio, falling right through. I believe that this guy is probably the smarter one of the two, probably saving his stuff, letting Kane do all the work. But obviously don't want to take anything away from Spencer E. Burns, who's running up front. He's obviously figured out how to lead the race. Let's see if he can hold on to it, because Dylan Alt is right behind him, nipping on his heels.
Looks
Andy
like,
Mango.
Andy Mango, one of our longtime runners of the series, was able to tag the wall just a touch, but it looks like he will recover quite nicely.
Poor Andy. He's having a rough go here today. That 40 car is really stalking the 06. I think we're going to see a battle for the lead here in a minute.
Yes, I think Dylan Alt is definitely going to show his case here to Spencer Burns why he should be leading the charge of this race.
They are putting a lap on Eric Messer here, who can't spell his name correctly. I'm not sure what is going on with him. Oh, he's coming off pit road, but he's going back to pit road. He had some damage, I think, at the beginning of the race.
It looks like Brian Mercurio, don't look now, but he is up to the 6th position in...
Now, what happened to...
I don't know.
Kane Cook?
Oh, that is just rough stuff for the 055 driver of Kane Cook.
Best car in the field right now. Gone.
definitely going to change the face of this race with the fastest car
Wait.
gone.
Will,
Guys, did you
your pick's
guys
looking
say
better.
that Kane Cook just dropped out of the race?
Unfortunately, that's what happened.
Is that a call for technical difficulties? I think it is. And that, yes, it does line up my pick of the race. Looking better. Old Brian Mercurio marching up in 6th place. Obviously, he doesn't have his battering ram that is of Kane Cook anymore. But look, guys, he's coming.
We're getting close to halfway here.
Yeah, it looks like don't look now though, but Sean Butler, my pick, is up to the 8th position as he was running about 14th, 15th when I decided to pick him. So we might see a sleeper pick out here.
So I'd like to remind everybody, we're on lap 62. The last pit cycle, I believe, was lap 40-ish, something like that. I could be wrong. I'm totally ignorant here. But I feel like pretty soon guys are going to start to scream for tires, and we might see some green flag stops soon.
Yeah, that'll definitely be interesting to see green flag stops with more than 40 cars on the track.
I love it.
Like, this is just going to be so hectic for these guys. I would personally be stressing out right now.
Well, Mark, I'm happy to say I'm not stressing one bit.
Oh yeah, stress-free up here in the STN Racing broadcast booth as we see Evan Rice trying to make a charge at the lead as he gets underneath Spencer Burns, use the AstroTurf, and he is going to be able to get that extra grip from the AstroTurf, courtesy of Arnold Columbia, and pass Spencer Esports Burns for the lead.
And guys, watch that Austin Johnson guy right behind him. Obviously, he got slotted out of position there, but he had momentum on the bottom. Let's see if he can keep it on the inside of Evan Rice there and see if he keeps going.
We look farther back in the field. We got like a hornet's nest going on for 20th place, 22nd place. The 6, the 05, the 56, the 09. Lots of cars here running really close to each other.
And guys, before we introduce our next commentator, I need to say, look at Brian Mercurio ripping the top in 1 and 2. He's making his move around Austin Johnson. This guy came back from deep in the field along this run. Look how far he's gotten up there. My pick's looking pretty solid, Mark. And
yes.
As I say that, we welcome the Rhino RTRV at Rhino Vargas on Instagram. I don't know if that's your handle. To the booth, Ryan. Thanks for coming up, bud.
No, thank you guys. I'm really excited to be a part of this broadcast. Definitely going to be watching Brian Mercurio. You were talking about him earlier. I was watching the broadcast. We did that race earlier this week, and he was a threat the entire race and won. So I'm interested to see how he will fare coming back through the field in this one.
Unfortunately, I'd like to bring up the point that race happened over a week ago now, and that's just crazy to think about because I remember just the other day watching us do that race.
He's
last
going
Friday.
for second here. Evan Rice is going to have a mirror full of that 41 car in probably the next few laps.
Yes, this is also, Will brought up the point of pit window being open here quite shortly, and Brian is on quite a bit fresher tires than some of these guys, so he's going to be able to stay out significantly longer than guys such as Evan Rice and Spencer Esports Burns who stayed out on the last caution.
And guys, I'd like to point something out. We're on lap 67 here. Brian set his fastest lap on lap 45. Obviously, that second run of brand new tires, but he ran a 30.46. Oh, actually, my ignorant self was looking at practice. I'm so sorry.
Leave it to Will to make that kind of mistake. We got some really good racing up here. Looking at Dylan Alt in the 7th position. They're in a train right there, just kind of biding their time, just feeling their tires out, getting more used to the cars. You know, we're a little bit late into this run, so I'm interested to see how these guys are going to fare.
Yeah, I'm really looking at Brian to possibly be taking over the lead here in the matter of laps. So.
Absolutely. I just want to make one more point. Yes, I'm totally ignorant of technology, but what I was trying to say was from lap 49 with Brian's times, he went from 31.0s and now he's running 32.1s, a full 1.1 seconds slower. Again, these guys are going to be screaming for tires.
Not to interrupt you there, Will, but the 31 of Derek Justice and the 35 of Sean Butler have both entered the top 5, with Derek Justice being in the 3rd place and Sean Butler in 5th. So they will definitely be right up there to battle Brian for the lead here in a number of laps.
Absolutely. As a rivalry forms here, me and Mark are going to go down in history for being very upset with each other as commentators in the booth. We will have a virtual slug match to see who wins.
Ah, yes. I'm sure that stems from me calling you, quote, the worst NASCAR driver to exist.
Who?
Yeah, I don't know who.
One thing I'm watching right now, the 84 of Cosman, he's coming through the field a little bit, looking to the inside. Oh, and one car gets in the wall off of 4 there. Really tight racing here. They're racing side by side. Now you're seeing this huge train kind of working it out. The inside line, obviously more dominant here. So a lot of these guys are trying to file back through. Really tight racing out of 2 there.
And guys, we're seeing a lead change here. Brian Mercurio going on Evan Rice. Again, I said it earlier in the broadcast. That paint scheme that Evan Rice has got on his car, it takes away about 10 horsepower. So that's why we're probably seeing this pass for the lead as Brian Mercurio takes it
Derek
across the stripe
Justice
this lap.
is going to make it 3 wide going for the lead here as we come out of the trial in turn 1.
I was going to say, don't look now. Derek Justice has a huge run. He's going to peek his nose to the outside and try to use that topside momentum. He's there. He's to his door.
Oh, but we got a lap car of Andy Mango. We're going to go 3 wide for a second on the backstretch.
Mango.
Wow. That was close.
That was an incredible move by Derek Justice. He's pinching Brian Mercurio down to the bottom line. He's going to have the advantage coming out of 4.
Man, whatever ice cream Derek Justice is eating right now, I want that. Obviously, he's got 31 flavors because of that paint scheme. Just tell me what flavor, bro. I'm going to go pick it up.
Oh, yes. 31 different flavors of Baskin-Robbins, but the only flavor he wants tonight is victory as he takes over the lead from Brian Mercurio. Also, I'd like to shout out Jarrett Mackey for coming up with that line.
I want to put that quote on my wall. 31 flavors, the only one he wants to have tonight is victory.
My favorite.
The one thing I definitely want to point out, though, Brian Mercurio isn't letting him go. Brian Mercurio is still all over that rear bumper, sizing him up, trying to lay out a pass because he knows he's come through this field. He's just as fast, if not quicker, than Derek Justice.
Yes, but we see here into the 4th position has Sean Butler. If he can take over Evan Rice, he might be right there to battle between Justice and Mercurio as he's throwing down some heaters for these boys.
Now, I'm shocked that Evan Rice hasn't fallen off as much as, of course, we mentioned how Derek Justice and Brian Mercurio, as well as Sean Butler, all have better tires. Austin Johnson, I'm pretty sure, is also on the Evan Rice strategy as well, and he's been able to keep up there with our 5th place driver.
Now, guys, I don't want to take any attention away from these top 5, but I have to shout out my boy Brad Perez, who is in that living room dance floor, number 30 Chevrolet. He has gone from virtually the back up to 32nd, so he's coming back to the field. I feel like as strategies move on here, as we see grid and flag pit stops, and maybe another caution, he might be coming back.
Yes, definitely. Brad Perez right now runs in the 32nd position as he is making a pass on the 32 of Matthew H. Wisher. Or, I'm sorry, that's the lap car of Evan Brinker. My mistakes, my apologies. But he is trying to go challenge Matt Wishart and Kyle Riley for the 30th and 29th position.
Spencer Burns, he's fallen back to 9th here, with Keith Yolanda Sherman in the 10th position.
Oh, we got a wreck!
As we see our 3rd position driver, that was Evan Rice being taken out by a lapper.
Floating in at just insane speeds. I believe Dylan Alt was a part of that. Joey Bailey, another contender, will be a part of that wreck. Wow.
Guys, Evan Rice was involved in that, I believe.
Yes,
he was.
P3 running there. It looks like a lapper down in the bottom. Some purple car that was a 00. He did a barrel roll, hit Evan, and completely screwed a lot of people there out of the race.
What did the 03 do?
Man.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at it right now. It looks like the 03 is on the apron trying to stay out of the way. It just comes right up and wrecks him.
Man.
What?
Unbelievable. And what was I saying a few minutes ago, guys? Cautions? I was really
caution.
hoping to see a green flag pit stop.
One thing I'm watching right now, Casey, I believe that's the driver of that purple car. He just came on the chat and said he is so sorry. So obviously not intentional there. Just on the apron, trying to get down to speed. Trying to probably cut it on pit road. Had a couple issues there and just collected the leaders.
Now
Well,
we
Casey,
see the
I'm
leaders
sorry to
all
say-
make their way down pit road here, so this is going to change up the strategy game of this race 100%. We're going to see Spencer Burns back on the same strategy as his low-line racing teammate Brian Mercurio, as well as Derek Justice and Sean Butler.
And, well, Casey, I'm sorry to say, but sorry doesn't pay the bills.
Man, he just LePage the field. He just was going too fast on the apron.
Now, thankfully here for Casey, these cars do not cost nearly as much as the real thing, so
Poor Evan Rice there.
Yeah, Evan Rice with a tough break there. He was right in third spot, and look at that. Derek Justice has a good pit stop, comes out the leader, just as he did coming in.
Also, I don't know how Sean Butler got through that, but he did, and that was insane. The 03 flipped over him.
that is
Absolutely.
just some crazy
We all
stuff.
love jumpy trucks.
Also, don't look now, but Warren Rosario is getting closer and closer to the front of the field as we speak. Don't believe I know where he's going to cycle out, but he should be about in the top 20.
So, guys, we pit on lap 77 here. We're on lap 78 as they cross the line in pit road. We have a total of 134 laps. Do we see another pit stop? Obviously, cautions breed cautions. We might see an opportunity for them to take 4 more tires and fuel. But if it goes green, are they coming back down?
I'm going to tell you this, Will, and I will tell you this from the bottom of my heart, and that is yes. You're going to see drivers screaming for new tires. You're going to see drivers probably trying to stretch it on fuel. I wouldn't be surprised if this race went green. You'll see guys trying to stretch it, but I don't think we're going to get anywhere near close.
What I'm really excited to see is if some guys anticipate a caution, sense it in their seat, and say, you know what, I'm just going to pit now, take the chance, caution comes back out. That means they're going to be at the front of the line with pretty fresh tires when a restart comes out. Maybe a guy that's deep in the field says, you know what, I've got nothing to lose. Why don't I pit? Maybe he'll just get lucky.
One of the drivers I definitely want to take a look at is Cosman in the 84 car. He was been up in the front, just kind of biding his time, really just minding his own business, and he finds himself in the 4th position. I expect to see a lot of moves be made from him. Probably going to take it easy at the beginning of this run, but I think he'll make some moves here and get to the front.
Got to make another shout out to our boy Brad Perez in that number 30 living room dance floor Chevrolet. Up to P20, guys. P20.
It looks like we have Brad in the
let a guy
booth
down
with
there.
us right now. Brad, how's it going out there?
It's rough, guys. Very, very rough. But we're on the upswing. I wrecked myself trying to get around a slower car, and then after that, I drove from 37th to 20th. So I'm fine with that. I just know we have the pace. I just need to stop making stupid mistakes. Letting living room dance floor down.
I was going to say, I was watching Michael Cozy's stream earlier. It looked like, it was just a little bit of a slip-up, trying to get around traffic. Came down on him, chopped the nose, and brought it to the infield. But luckily, you don't have much damage. How do you think you fare as we get into this run?
I think we for sure have a car that's capable of a top 5. Just got to put ourselves in the position to do it. And, we're on that underdog, that racing underdogs wave, We're not supposed to be up here, but we are. So we're going to get there.
Well, Brad, we are all very proud of you, and yes, we will only hold that mistake over your head for a month. Only 30 days. Coming down quickly. But what I will say is, yes, you have made a tremendous charge from being one of the leaders of this field to being in the back completely and then back to P20. What is your strategy here? Are you going to pit with the leaders, or are you going to take a chance? And are you going to take 4 tires and fuel before anybody else and hope a caution comes out?
No, because you did that and failed. So, yeah, no. I'm just going to do whatever the leaders do, and we have a good enough pace that we're going to get back up there.
Let us not forget that.
Enough
because
said.
It did not work for him. He pitted twice to try to get rid of that, and it just didn't work.
But may I remind everyone, I beat one certain commentator friend we have up in the booth here by pitting twice.
Congratulations, Will. You beat one driver with no skills in iRacing. Anyways, we're getting ready to come back to the restart here. We have the 31 and the 41 on the front row here. Going to be an interesting restart. See who's going to have the edge coming into turn number 1.
Guys, real quick, I want to say, what's going on in the chat? We got 16 watchers here.
Well, the
Everybody
pace car's
start.
in. I'm cutting you off,
Start.
Will, and Derek Justice is going to
Coming.
fire off and get a great restart here as Brian Mercurio will falter just a bit, but that'll not be enough for Austin Johnson to get underneath him and overtake him for second.
Yeah, at least
Anyway.
Mercurio didn't fall off as much there as he's been on the top side on the restarts. Able to get right there in second place, and a couple guys up in the top 10 that we haven't seen. Warren Rosario has made his way into 9th.
Yes, it's a good time when we can see our boy Warren Rosario throw it into the top 10 and try to have a good run today, as well as Keith Yolanda Sherman is up there inside of the top 10, possibly battle with Tyler Gary and Cosmin Yanishi for that 5th place position.
I was going to mention that. Tyler Gary looking a little bit strong early in this run. Was all over the bumper of Shane there, but obviously falls a little bit off of him, and now just kind of settles in line. Early in this run, no need to make any big moves here.
That's another driver that we haven't talked much about today is Shane Therian in the number 38 car. He's usually one of the faster guys here in the FTF Grand National Series, and he's starting to make his way towards the front here later in the race. Now, from my understanding, the last race that I broadcasted, I found out that he runs these on a controller, so props to him to be able to be this good at iRacing on a controller.
Guys, I got one question. We all know that when Will Rogers, finishes top 10s, kids get free benefits and strategies alongside of that. Now, when somebody like Derek Justice wins, does everybody get free ice cream? I know there are only 31 flavors, but I'm sure 31 happy people would be really liking that ice cream. Is that a thing?
I mean, I hope that we can get on board with the Baskin-Robbins headquarters and be able to get some possible free ice cream up here in the STN Racing booth, but I don't know how likely that's going to be.
Thanks, Mark.
Now, Keith Yolanda Sherman is back there in the 7th position as he is absolutely dogging on the 84 of Cosmin Yanishiu. Now, it'll be interesting to see if Keith can get up to the top 5 and possibly battle it out with one of his good friends, Brian Mercurio.
You know, I got to give a shout out to the guy who's been getting shout outs all night, our in-race reporter, Brad Perez, who's up to 17th after the accident he had earlier. Brad's in here still. Man, you're kicking butt here.
Yeah, we're just taking.
All right.
Yes, definitely.
Thanks,
I'm
Brad.
sure
And that was our
crew
in-race
chief likes us
reporter.
having him on the frequency, but we're going to let him go.
And Eric, you have now taken my job security. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I've tried.
One thing I'm watching
I'm
right
gonna
here.
drive your car next.
Well, we have Shane Theory and looking for a third. He's starting to close in a little bit on Cosmin. Really interested to see how this is. Sorry, that is not Cosmin, that is Austin Johnson. But we see a little bit of a battle forming here as Brian Mercurio is all over the bumper of your leader as well.
Couple battles starting to form here around the track. Austin Johnson, he's been around that 5th place, 6th place position. This is the highest up he's been all race. Curious to see what he's going to do as Shane Therian, mentioned before, right there.
And definitely, I wonder what will happen if he can get the track position, because he has not let those two leaders get out to much of a lead. He's, in fact, kind of maintained the pace, so interested to see how this plays out as we get further into the run and the tires begin to wear more.
When we think about how big of a field this was, as we only have 36 cars on the lead lap still, but the highest person who's started below 40th in this field, up to 10th, Gary Waterworth, started 47th, so doing a nice job in 10th place.
Yes, as well as our resident cool name of the race award, Jalen Battle, started right ahead of him in 46th and is up to 14th, or 13th position, might I add. So that's really cool to see guys that started just absolutely out in the boonies get their way up inside of the top 15 tonight, and possibility of having a top 10 or possible top 5 run with the pace they've shown.
Guys, speaking of interesting names, number 12, Gary Waterworth up there. I know earlier we were talking about water and Dasani and all of those things, but what is Dasani's water really worth?
It's a really good point. I can't tell you what that is.
Yeah, I can't tell you what that is, but there is a little bit of action going along further back in the pack. I'm watching Michael Cozy here riding along in the 22nd position. You see a couple side-by-side battles right behind him.
Oh, we had a
Another battle
car
forming
in
right in front
the
of him.
lawn. Jake Poulin, who made it work to get around the 80 car.
The pass and the turf. That's what I'd like to
I'd
call
like
it.
to point out that is Sports Field's turf.
Yes, as I pointed out earlier, apparently, according to a driver in this race named Arnold Columbia, resident Twitter comedian, shout out to him.
You're going to say
extra-
resident of Columbia.
Yeah, no, he's not from Columbia. He's actually from Toronto, Canada. Anyway, there's extra grip down in that AstroTurf patch in the Roval chicane. So you might see some guys dipping their left sides down into that AstroTurf to get that extra grip.
Now, Ryan, as a fellow driver, my question is, dipping it down into that AstroTurf, is the extra grip actually just coming from the D-wedge of the car? It's probably changing the balance of the platform. Is that what you're thinking too?
It definitely will de-wedge the car going down the straightaways. It's probably one of those things you want to utilize early in the run when the tires are cool, it's a little bit tied out. You know, you got to think, this run straightaway, it's not straight. You know, you're going through there, you're turning, and it's flat. So you got to make sure you get that car to rotate pretty well so you can set up that move going down the straightaway and into turn one. Now, dipping it throughout the run, I don't know if that's going to work.
Now, speaking about getting a run, look at Brian Mercurio. He's still coming back on that number 31 of Derek Justice in all of those 31 flavors of ice cream. I feel like maybe all that ice cream is weighing him down because Brian is on a mission, guys.
As we see Brian dip those left sides just on that blue and white line, possibly a little bit into the AstroTurf. But
he is right there.
Yes, as I believe Will Rogers should definitely try to reach out to
We have an issue
Baskin-Robbins
on the
here
front
with
stretch,
the amount of
guys.
times he is.
Chris Wetz is slow.
Damn,
Are
he's
we-
also fat. Anyway,
He's slow going into turn number one. Let me rewind here. Let me see what happened to him.
And my iRacing doesn't like to work, so I can't see what happened to him.
it's
Now,
unfortunate.
we
for
are
Chris
still under
Wentz.
green.
Guys, jumping back to our resident in the race driver and the driver of the number 30 Living Room Dance Floor Chevrolet, Brad Perez, up to P13. He's right behind this big pack. I feel like if he can keep this momentum going, we might actually see this guy inside the top 10 inside the next few laps.
Definitely, I'd like to see him overtake his shaman, Andy Schwab. And yes, unfortunately, Chris Wetz had an engine let go, so that's tough for. I don't know where that car's fielded out of, but the Chris Wetz people, that's tough for them.
Too much left side weight.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Well, right now we have a good battle forming up for the 6th position. Keith Yolanda Sherman all over the back bumper of Cosman. He's looking to probably bounce his way into the top 5.
Yeah, that would be a great run for the number 15 DL Performance Camaro of Keith Yolanda Sherman if he can have a solid run today. Teammates with the 30 of Brad Perez, our in-race reporter. So that's nice to see that happening out here for all the guys back in China Grove at the DL Performance shop.
Warren Rosario just lost a position to Brandon Hawkins, dropping back to 9th, but still in the top 10. And just shout out to Warren, just for being Warren.
Yes,
Guys, I need to point out that the two leaders who have broken away here, Derek Justice, Brian Mercurio, they've put a gap over Austin Johnson in P3 by almost 1.2 seconds last time by. That's pretty incredible. How many laps have we been since we went caution?
I do not know when the last caution was, but something I am a little upset about right now is the fact that Sean Butler is nowhere to be found inside of the top 20 as he arrives in 27th. I don't know if that's a strategy move or if he just got mired back in traffic after a bad pit stop at the last frequency.
He was right there when that accident happened with Evan Rice, so he might have gotten a piece of it where I didn't notice. But I was just gonna mention Spencer Burns. He was leading this race, fell back to 9th on his old tires, currently sitting in 19th. I don't know what happened with him there.
Yeah, you really hate to see it there, but Brian Mercurio laying it down to Derek Justice up in the lead here. He's just kind of peeking his nose out, biding his time, staying within a car length of him. Doesn't even look like he's pushing it. He's just being really smooth on the wheel, letting it roll all the way through the center. Has a little bit of a higher line, later apex, and just gets a good run.
Might be saving his stuff here for a possible long run.
And guys, I do have to give credit where credit's due. Our boy, Michael P. Frisch, who did start 44th and had a terrible beginning of this race. He is up to P17, so he's definitely made a comeback here. Good for him.
Very slowly has moved through the field here, and methodically. Felt really cool with that word, and then no one said anything. Actually, I'm watching him. It looks like the 68 just got into the wall. That's Jalen Battle, Resident Cool Name Award here, winner. But he is going to continue on here, only losing a couple positions.
Yeah,
let's
that
hope
looked like a
he
big
doesn't-
moment down the back straightaway there.
Let's hope he doesn't get in any battles with the wall or any other cars out here, as we'd like to see him finish well to back up his cool name.
Wow, Will, not Will, Mark. That was very funny and quirky of you. But as you see, Ryan Williams now starting to peek his way through, moves up into I believe the 18th position. So starting from 24th at the beginning of this race, running inside the top 20. Just a quiet, calm night for him.
Looks like Battle's going to fall back here to 22nd as Michael
Michael
Cozy's
Cozy
trying to get
sideways to the
around.
infield.
Oh, I love koozies.
Yes, Will, as you made that joke twice already tonight, and nobody has said anything until now, me referencing that it is a bad joke, so we can stop that one any second now.
I don't know if my mom is still listening, but shout out to my mom.
Yes,
We'd hope she's still
shout
here.
out.
One thing I do want to look at also, Andy Schwamm in that 67 has now moved into the top 10. Now has a quiet run, looking on the back of Keith Yolanda Sherman, tracking about half a second back of him. Just being smooth, biding his time. You see a good amount of separation between each car in the field, so everyone just seems to be riding, biding their time, saving their tires, saving some fuel.
Guys, the obvious hot term of the night since old RTRV has joined us is biding our time. I wonder how many times more he's going to use that.
Now, hopefully, it cannot be any more times than I have said interesting or something to keep an eye on since I've started here at the STN Racing Broadcast Company. So don't worry about that one, Ryan. Everyone has their key go-to phrase, like a certain someone, Gabe Herschel, who is not in the booth with us tonight, usually likes to make snarky comments at Brian Mercurio, which Will has fortunately been able to pick up slack on, but we love Brian Mercurio in this booth.
Yes, we love Brian Mercurio. We also know the fact that Will makes terrible jokes. I'm definitely watching this battle further out throughout the field. Tyler Gary has now closed in. I shouldn't say that. He's actually fallen back into the clutches of Shane Therian. There's a tight battle right there for the top 5 spot.
Looks like the 48 is about to go another lap down. He's just had a rough night. This will be a 4th lap
Contact.
down for Andy Mango.
Ooh, the 40 is in the wall a little bit there off of 4 as he's going a lap down. Hopefully he doesn't disrupt the leaders in their charge through the field.
Well,
Mark,
Tyler Gary
we-
had himself a pretty big moment going into turn number 3. Had contact with the front end of Shane Therian. Now he's dropping back quite
We
a
got a
few spots. He
caution.
is in yellow on the track.
Look at that. So, guys, again, caution came out. I wonder who had just gone down pit road, if anybody. If they had, they're going to inherit this lead and hopefully challenge for that win.
Has anyone been able to see what that caution was for? As I have yet to see.
Absolutely not.
Yes, I have no idea what that was about.
I am oblivious.
I believe it was the 42 of Tyler Claybaugh is what I'm hearing was because of the yellow.
But I definitely want to point out that that
By
026 of Tyler
himself.
Gary had himself a big moment going into turn number
Yeah, it
3,
looks
as I
like
mentioned.
Tyler Claybaugh got himself up into the wall off of 2,
Oh
lost
my.
control of the race car, hitting the
Hit the
inside wall. Unfortunate deal for the 42 gang.
Definitely not on deck.
Something that Tyler Claybaugh
Wow.
just didn't want to see. Great driver, and Will, I'm ignoring your joke once again.
Thank you.
Now, this is going to be interesting here. Who will pit? Who is not going to pit? As we are
Under 30
Going
laps
down.
to go here.
coming down to the end.
Well, actually, 28 laps to be precise, Mark. I know you can't math.
I said under 30, so I was correct. in
Well,
Mark
looks
any
like,
can't
sense of the
math.
word.
looks like
I
most
can't
of your
speak.
leaders will be coming in right here.
Andy Mango stays out. That might be a strategy move, but he's also a lap down, so who knows?
He's probably trying to get some of those laps taken off of his deficit, so hopefully we can see Andy Mango at least 2 laps down here.
So we see Derek just appeal off to his box. Brian Mercurio comes to a screeching halt in his. Brian has almost the number 1 box up front, obviously in the number 2 box. Let's see if that gives him the benefit off a pit road hit right here.
Derek Justice peels away. Brian Mercurio will not get the advantage. Derek Justice comes off first, and it looks like we have a new second-place driver.
As this is not a normal thing broadcasters should do, guys, I'm going to step away for just a few minutes here.
We thought you'd never ask.
We
Sorry.
No, you're all good, Eric. We love you.
Thank you.
We love
Thank
you,
I love
Eric.
you too. I love all you guys.
And I am going to make a statement. Ryan Vargas was wrong. Brian Mercurio still inherits what will probably be that P2 start.
Yes,
That's
I was wrong on
unfortunate
that
for
call.
Brian, as he's going to have to restart on that top side, which has been ever so treacherous tonight.
Guys, like I said before, if that peanut butter and jelly isn't laid down just right in the top of 3 and 4 from personal experience, you can't hold on to it.
Yeah, that's a really unfortunate, Will, but there is no PB&J in iRacing. It is just the asphalt. So, going to be an interesting strategy to see how these drivers will adapt to these restarts. Late in the race, going to be an interesting battle to see how these drivers launch off the line.
Yes, hopefully we can see a much better restart there from the 41 of Brian Mercurio on the outside, but he's just going to have to do what he can to be able to make the best out of restarting on the outside.
So, guys, something that I haven't said all night is Brad Perez, our guy in the number 30 Living Room Dance Floor Chevrolet. He has actually, as the pit cycles out, I thought he was going to be P10 from P13. It turns out he's P14. So sorry, I spoke too soon.
Yes, we know you love your Brad Perez updates, but one thing I definitely want to point out, though, I thought Brian Mercurio was riding around. He was really being patient there in that run. He was all over the back bumper of your leader. I think you're going to see a much more aggressive Brian Mercurio as we get into this run.
100%, Ryan. And again, Brian is my pick. I want to say that he's probably one of the smartest here, but he also still has that cheat code in his back pocket. I can't wait to see what it's going to be like. Is it going to be a XYXY right trigger or the other way around?
Yes, Will. I too bought those books from the book fair as a young, naive 5th grader at the Scholastic Book Fair, but Sean Butler's still mired back in traffic. Not looking good for my pick today, but I'll still stick with him. Hopefully he can make his march back to the front. If not, I'll just change my pick slightly to Warren Rosario.
So it looks like Eric Messer here. Yeah, I don't know if you guys mentioned this while I was gone, but he's going to take the wave around, get a lap back here as he is already 6 down, so really it doesn't matter. Also, he still doesn't know how to spell his name correctly, and as a correct Eric, I'm free to say that.
Thank you, Eric.
Whenever I see it, I call it out.
Guys, I want to make some really quick acknowledgments here as far as how the pace slowed down towards the end there. Looking at lap 90, run into lap 105. Lap 90 was a 131, or I'm sorry, it's a 31.1. That's pretty slow as it is, but it went down to a 31.8. Obviously, only a few laps there took a lot out of those tires, so I'm sure those guys were really happy to see that caution.
Now, I'm guessing that Brian Mercurio needs to have the restart of his life here, or at least be able to get right down behind the 31. But will he have anything? He was stayed with Derek Justice that whole run before the caution,
yes.
So I'll be curious to see what he does here.
Yeah, definitely. Derek Justice got out to a really good early lead, but Brian Mercurio just stayed right on his back bumper. Never let him get out to more than a car length lead. So, as I stated earlier, expect a much more aggressive Brian Mercurio as we come to the restart here, Mark.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see Brian on this restart trying to hold his own on the outside. But it looks like our iRacing pace truck will dip down and Derek Justice is going to fire off. Wow, does he get another one of those inside restarts as he pulls far away from Brian Mercurio. And we are already wrecking. Wow. You hate to see that.
Oh, I love to see it. Well, guys, what I will say for Brian Mercurio's sake, he now has a better idea of where P1 is going to jump. That is Derek Justice. Obviously, maybe won't be able to reflect everything if Derek is doing it right. He'll switch it up, but at least Brian has an idea of where he went before. Maybe he'll do it again.
The restart wreck is very much so unfortunate. It's not what most of these guys wanted to see, especially someone like Brian who just trying to salvage that restart, and he's going to have to do it all over again, like Will said. And yeah, this is just going to be...
Well, guys, I'm going to take this time as Mark stumbles over his words. What's going on in the chat? Let's have some comments here. What are you guys thinking about our broadcast? Give us some feedback. Also, tell us who you think's going to win. I got my eyes on Brian Mercurio, obviously, as I've said. Give us your thoughts.
It looks like we have the guy apologizing for LePaging the field. I had a brain fart and didn't brake on the apron. Alright, I mean, good for you. I'm glad you can own up to your actions and have a good one and drive safe, as always.
Well, it sounds like the chat box is being used for excuses. Unfortunately, that's not, I think, what it was designed for. But we have a comment. I'm Casey. Oh, wait, that's the same guy. Never mind. We need another comment. Scroll on.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really had very many interactions with the chat since we were able to adopt Ryan Vargas to our commentary booth here on the STN Racing Network.
I haven't paid attention to the chat at all, and I probably will continue to not.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. Our usual viewers are Warren Rosario, who is currently participating in the race, and Eric, who is up in the booth with us. So our viewership has tanked.
But I like having this perspective of being up in the booth and not being able to speak English. It's just come full circle for me here.
Yes, I mean, I would hope that some of our former broadcasters, such as also somebody to point out that usually broadcasts is Matt Wishart. Shout out to him. But hopefully Jarrett Mackey's out there watching. I probably not, but it would be nice. He's a good guy, and I appreciate everything he's done for us here at STN.
He's my son as well.
Yes.
Well, as we get back to this restart, as the field paces around the racetrack, I definitely want to give a quick read to one of our sponsors, Kids on Leashes. Never lose your kid at the museum or Disneyland with our leashes for kids. They come in all your favorite animals like monkey, unicorn, horse, and chimpanzee. Back to you, Mark.
Yes, we love the Kids on Leashes Foundation and everything they do for kids and leashing them down.
Guys,
Now-
a little bit of fun fact, but a little bit of a personal side. I was once put on a leash as a child.
That explains so much.
Yes, that is something that I am not very surprised to hear there, Will.
Wow. That's not true. That's not true. There's no way.
I just
There's no way.
short.
Are you for
Okay,
real?
and it looks like we have a comment in the chat. Somebody named Ryan says Mark sounds like McLovin, according to my wife. I could agree with you entirely with that. Now, as somebody being from Hawaii and definitely verifying that Mark's ID is not from the state, I think this is adding up. I think it's definitely adding up.
See, I usually get that. Actually, today I said to Nick Sanchez said to me that I look like Colin Garrett, which I get quite often. I also get Machine Gun Kelly quite often, but that one I haven't gotten in quite some time. I haven't actually gotten a McLovin sounding one in a while, so that's new. I'll give you props there. So good on your wife for catching that.
Well, as we get off of the viewer comments here for a second, I want to look at Andy Schwamm out here in the 7th position. We talked about him earlier, trying to work his way into the top 10. Now running 7th. How is he going to get when he's right in this lead battle? I'm interested to see how that works out.
Yes, Andrew Schwartz, or Andy Schwab, as we like to call him up here, is quote, the shaman of Brad Perez. Now, he doesn't like to recognize himself as the shaman of Brad, but it's just something that Brad likes to say about him.
Guys, I don't know if you've noticed, but we've got 20 to go.
Yes,
20
we're
laps.
getting into the late stages of this race, and I'm ready to see an exciting finish between Derek Justice, Brian Mercurio, and possibly anyone else in the field that really wants to put them onto the binders late in the race.
Now, because
Got-
I just straight up don't know, green white checkers, what is the situation?
Yep.
All right, so I'm guessing there is.
I believe
Well-
there are some. I don't know.
Well, guys, I believe it is now time for the gloves to come off, especially for these top 5. Look at Brian Mercurio to make some really crazy moves here. Not to say that he's going to take himself out of the race, but you never know. Hopefully, he'll have a good restart on Derek Justice.
I was going to mention that. Brian Mercurio was playing it safe in that last run. You know, it was a long green flag run. There was a chance of it going over 30, 40 laps. Now we have a guaranteed race finish in 20 laps. This is going to be interesting to see how Brian comes through here as we're coming back to green. Mark?
I've been told that we have unlimited green-white checkers, possibly 3, as we are pace cars in, and Derek Justice is going to fire off and take us to the green flag. Derek Justice gets another one of those absolutely phenomenal bottom lane restarts as we see them mixing it up for second place here. Brian Mercurio keeping Austin Johnson at bay going into turn number 1.
Shane Therian had a big moment going into turn number 1. Oh, and the record!
We see some records out of turn 2.
I believe that was Brad
and that
Perez
is the
getting
entire
turned.
field.
Brad was able to hold on to it a little bit, but that mangled living room dance floor number 30 is just not going to be as fast. Looks like Gary Waterworth, Michael Frisch was involved. Ryan Williams, unfortunately, took a hit.
Looks like it started with Brad here. He got loose coming out of turn 4, I believe. And then who's that behind him?
A lot of cars got involved in that one.
Blake Treywick, I believe, was involved in it as well. Michael Cozy got a little bit of a beating there.
Let's do one for the fans here and bring Brad into the booth, guys. I've got a question for our old Brad.
Jalen Battle was able to avoid it slightly.
Yeah, it looks like Brad Perez may have actually come out on the good end of that. You know, yes, he was involved, but doesn't look like a whole lot of damage on that machine.
Let's bring Brad into the booth, guys. Hey, Brad Perez, this is the boys up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, we got a copy.
All right, Brad. So we just saw the replay. A little bit of an unfortunate mess there. Looks like you got free out of turn 2, got tagged by some idiot behind you, and went for a little bit of a ride. But it looks like the rest of the field behind you got totally stacked up. Can you walk us through what happened?
So when that last caution came out, it deflated me because we had 4 Mr. Feelgoods. We were in 14th. We were going to drive to the front, and caution came out for something, and then this restart, I didn't realize how cold my tires were, and went into 1 expecting the exact same thing was going to happen, and it didn't. And first time this entire race, it got loose, and somehow saved it. Whoever hit me back, whatever, I don't really care. All I know is I'm still digging, and I gained like 3 spots, so maybe that was just part of the strategy, maybe, I guess.
Well, Brad, I got to follow up that question because you mentioned 4 Mr. Feelgoods and tires, which everybody knows that's the same thing. I got to ask you, from your first road experience and specialty, is this when all the guys in the back of the pack start running to other teams asking for 4 sets?
Well, at this point in the race, you're not going to ask for any more sets because they're either all gone or the team is going to keep them somehow for whatever reason because they don't want to sell it to anybody in the back. Because if you're in the back right now, you're on 80-lap tires, and we aren't going to put 10-lappers on because you're still going to finish 60th because there's 60 cars in this field.
And we have just been Braducated. Thank you very much, Brad.
Now, before we let you go, Brad, who makes it happen for the number 30 Chevy Camaro for you?
I certainly haven't mentioned it.
Hold on, what'd you hear my stupid spotter was talking about?
I was saying, who makes it happen for you? Because it's probably the last time we're going to talk to you on the broadcast tonight.
I don't know.
Well, with that, living room dance floor number 30 Chevrolet looks really great. I love saving my boys. My boys, Brad, is sanity at least, or what have you. I don't know. I just broke myself. Obviously, I just saved your sponsorship relationship, so thank you, Living Room Dance Floor, for everything that you do.
Thank you as well, Liver.
Yes, you know, the liver. We do need that to live as we are pacing through this field here. As we said earlier, now the laps are ticking down. We're going to have now under 15 laps by the time we take the green. I don't know what to expect here. Brian Mercurio has not had the best of restarts. This is going to be an interesting battle.
Mercurio is going to need a couple green flag laps here for him to be able to try to make a move on the 31 because he's just not going to be able to get anything on the restart here as Justice just takes off.
I believe Will Rogers needs to be brought back into the booth.
Do we want him back in the booth?
Yes, here I am, guys. Thank you very much. I got trapped outside, the door locked. So thank you for letting me back in.
Well, who let Will back in? Anyways, we're pacing through the field here. Another driver that I definitely want to look at is that 54. He's just kind of been waiting on the inside. I feel like if he can follow your leader through here, he maybe even be able to threaten for this lead.
Now, I'm looking back through the field here. A lot of names that we haven't mentioned tonight. Matt Wishart sitting back there in 28th. Really hasn't done much. I lied. He's now in 26th. Also, Ryan Williams up near the front earlier this race. Back to 30th. We currently have 36 cars on the lead lap. So, pretty impressive as we started with 59. And given the amount of accidents we had, especially that last one.
Guys, we're coming back to the line with 14 laps to go. Where's the time gone? Obviously, Derek Justice uses this time to his advantage, but Brian Macario is right there. Let's see if Brian, for a third or fourth time from failing on these restarts, has learned something and can stick right with him.
It seems that 67's been able to make up a couple of spots on these short runs that we've had. Will Andrew Schwartz be able to make some noise and get into the top 5?
No.
All right. You know who has done nothing but sit in third? Austin Johnson. I don't mean to say he's done nothing, because that's impressive, sitting there in third. But it seems that he's not had
the pace
anything
car's in. I'm going to cut
do
you
with
off,
those
Eric.
leaders.
And
that's fine.
It looks like Brian's trying to time it, but it's not going to be enough for Derek Justice there, as he will not falter and still take a commanding lead into turn number 1. Brian Mercurio is going to keep Austin Johnson at bay, as he has for the past 3 restarts, and he's just going to keep it in second place and try to run down Derek Justice off of 2.
Absolutely. Already a commanding lead by Derek Justice, but don't count out that 41 of Brian Mercurio. Here he comes on a charge.
Looks like Shane Therian will fall back to 5th, as he's in the clutches of Tyler Gary, who is not quite clear and will clear him at the start-finish line. Tyler Gary might have something for these leaders here if he can really reel them in.
We had a real big moment out of turn number 4 there. Warren Rosario got to the high side of your 13 car, Nate Stewart, made a pass up there, nearly got the walls. We have a big tight battle going down the back straightaway, huge blocks all over the track.
Yeah, it looks like Wazario is trying to really work in that second groove up the bottom, as he's trying to keep Nathan Stewart at bay as well as Jake Poulin. But it looks like they're about to go 3 here for the 9th position.
They get that sorted out as they go into turn number 3. The 6th
Oh,
car
we got
looks
a
back
car
to the...
getting sideways. Is that Brad? Brad's in the wall.
Our own Brad Perez.
Looks like that's going to do him in
Matt
for the day.
Wishart, too,
Oh,
the
and a couple more
78.
cars
couple
pile
cars
in.
more pile in.
The 14 piles in. It's, oh boy, it's a mess over in turn number 1.
Yeah, Brad just got ping-ponged here. He might have got some help there. Who is that behind him? That's the 40 of Dylan Alt. Looks like he gives him a little bit of a bumper. Brad gets loose and then overcorrects right into the wall.
Dylan Alt is dead to me.
Well, we talked about it in this race. You mentioned it earlier, Eric. Brian Mercurio, he needs laps. He needs these green flag laps to be able to reel back in Derek Justice. And now, another caution. That's less time for him to make up that ground. If Derek Justice has another really good restart, he may just lock this one in the back, because he put a half a second lead on Brian Mercurio within a lap and a half.
Yeah, these cautions are nothing but good for Derek Justice right now, as he's pretty much loving this, as he's able to get those great restarts off the bottom. He should be able to bring it home if we keep getting these cautions.
Yes, as it's clearly past Mark's bedtime, I really can't wait to see what Brian Mercurio can do, because you're right, Ryan. If he can get just a few green lap runs here, might actually have a really great race on our hands.
Yes, if we can get a few green flag laps, he may have a really good race, and Will may be able to learn some English. Eric, your input?
I'm just trying to see if any cars pit here. Looks like a lot of people who were just in the accident are going to pit. I did see Michael Cozy. Part of that accident, he had some big damage running into Brad Perez. Tough breaks for a lot of these guys.
And it looks like we have lost Brad Perez. He is manually disconnected. We are going to need a big ol' F in the chat, everybody.
F's in the chat for the number 30 Living Room Dance Floor Chevrolet. We're sorry to see him go. quite the run, but thank you for your service, Brad.
It's like Arnold Columbia's going to get a lap back. Haven't talked about Arnold all night. That's going to put him back in the lead lap.
That's going to be big for the brand for Arnold Columbia.
What's going on in the chat, Ryan?
Everyone go follow Arnold Columbia at Arnold Columbia on Twitter if you're watching this broadcast. Great NASCAR quality content there, and never disappoints.
Anybody wants to follow me as well, at Eric Webler. That's it.
Yes, Eric is a big supporter of E-Truck Series Night in America. I love your videos prior to each one of them. They are a great show.
Is there another one coming up? Wink, wink.
Yes,
plug.
we are working on putting the third one together. Round 3 is in the works. We are in the early stages of it. We have a good idea of the track and format. We're going to have a little bit of a different bit of flair to this one. Going to try and clean up some of our mistakes and obviously just keep going, you know? It's a new series. It's a new race that we're trying to put together and want to make sure that it's fair for everybody and that we have a good show to bring to the viewers.
I'm excited because I'm now a part of this whole iRacing thing. Might have to get me a truck and see what I can do, tear it up.
I was going to say, you know, we have, so far, it looks like it's been all Coke Series dominated. We've had Zach Novak win the first round, and then Malik Ray in a barn burner at Richmond win the second round. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one comes. I feel like with the track that we're deciding on, it's going to be a lot more of an even playing field, and I think it's going to add to some unpredictability to the race.
And one of those E-Truck Series Night in America drivers, Brian Mercurio, really trying to. He didn't make the Richmond race, but had a pretty good run in the first race. Wonder if he's going to be able to do anything here. Maybe try to change up his restart, as it's not working so far to get around Derek Justice.
Well, guys, when you have 31 flavors to choose from, it's hard to just pick one.
Yes, Will, that has been a great joke. It was even more funny when you said it for the 11th time. Mark, what do you have to say for this restart? We have about under 10 laps to go coming to the grain here. What do you have to say?
I think we're going to see Derek Justice probably prevail on this one. I mean, I hate that for Brian Mercurio. He's a good friend of mine, but Derek Justice has just been unstoppable on these restarts. And you're kind of giving us the effect of if you keep saying the joke, Will, it becomes less funny. So let's stop with the 31 flavors jokes, hopefully, so we can cherish that one for a later date.
I definitely want to point out, you know, we did talk about it. You know, Brian Mercurio has been strong all night long and probably has been faster than Derek Justice, but his launch speed has not been there. If Derek Justice gets a good launch, gets back out to that half-second lead that he had prior to this caution, it's going to be really tough for Brian Mercurio to get the win and get it cleanly. We can't weigh out all the other options.
Breaking news, guys. I just found out that Baskin-Robbins has 31 flavors. Can you guys believe that?
That's crazy, bro.
God,
oh my
here
God,
goes this guy again.
Yo, I'm going to drive the 55 car in iRacing events.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. Have fun, bud.
Yeah, I'm really bad, so
watch out for those yellow barrels. All right, as we see these guys pacing down the backstretch, obviously my commentator folks up in the booth with me here had nothing to say, so I feel like I just have to fill the
you
dead
need to go back
space.
to live as the pace car is pulling in right now, and Derek Justice has already launched ahead of Brian Mercurio. Wow, what a restart there as Brian is able to keep Austin Johnson and Tyler Gary at bay once again going into turn number 1 as we see him just trying to reel in Derek Justice from the second position.
Look at that,
that was almost a big moment for Brian Mercurio. Austin Johnson looked to the inside as they came down the front straightaway, but he was able to sort it out. Now Brian Mercurio has his sights set on Derek Justice as they're side by side for third.
Looks like Tyler Gary is going to try to get a run off of the top side, but that's not going to be enough to be able to overtake Austin Johnson. Tyler Gary is going to slide back into the 4th position as he tries to keep it ahead of Brandon Hawken in the 89 car. Hawken is quite fast here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, so we might see him playing a factor in this finish here. But Brian Mercurio is getting ever so close back to the bumper of Derek Justice, just trying to find himself a way around the 31.
Guys, look at Brian Mercurio's line wrapping that blue color on the bottom of the racetrack. Obviously really exiting much lower than Derek Justice, and I feel like it's paying dividends. Look how close he's getting.
He is starting to pull into that. I'll pull up to that 31 car. This is exactly what Brian needs. He needs this to go green to the end.
Yeah, Will, as we spoke, blue is a color, and Brian Mercurio is catching Derek Justice up here. He is now closing in
As he
within a
gets
car length.
right on the bumper of Derek Justice and the 31 car. Wow.
What a,
Yes,
he actually
we love
reeled him
interrupting
in.
each other.
Derek Justice had a really good exit off of 4. Brian Mercurio seems to be a little bit better in 1 and 2. Derek Justice seems to be a little bit better in 3 and 4. So it's going to be interesting to see how Brian Mercurio weighs on all these options.
Yes,
Guys.
Brian Mercurio's trying anything he can to try to get around that 31, but he has not quite had any kind of runs to try in him yet, and it looks like he's running out of laps as we're going to come to 3 to go at the line this time by.
Yeah,
Guys, this is NASCAR. I feel like if he can get close, there might be a little bit of that chrome horn being used.
Well, unfortunately, this is not NASCAR, and this is the FTF Grand National Series, but yes, the chrome horn is still in effect in this series.
Thank you, Mark.
Derek
Anyway.
Justice has now been able to spread it back out to about a 1 car length lead. Brian Mercurio is now trying everything he can. You saw him there have a little bit of a late apex, trying to get the better straight drive off the corner.
That
Doesn't
might
seem
have
to
worked. I don't know. It looked like you might have closed in a little bit there, but it might have been the angle that the camera was on for me.
And
Yeah,
as they
I'm
continue to
gonna
pull
blink.
away from Austin Johnson, Tyler Gary back there, English Will, is still hanging on for P4 in that Haley Diggins scheme. I wonder if he can try to make a move on Austin Johnson here, try to get to that top 3.
Yes, hopefully we can see Tyler Gary advance his position on Austin Johnson, but Brian Mercurio would like to advance his position on Derek Justice as we are coming to 2 to go this time by. Will he have enough time, or will he run out of time?
I
Will he
don't think he has the chance. I mean, he's
falling
right
back.
there, but if Derek Justice slips up just a little, he may have a chance, but I mean, Derek Justice is comfortable right where he's at.
Guys, what I would like to remind everybody is Brian Mercurio was my pick, but I don't think anybody else picked that 31 Flavors Derek Machine.
When we were doing
So-
our picks, I did mention as a sleeper because he fell off at the very beginning. So I will say,
But
I
was
did
he
mention
your
that
number
31.
1 pick?
my number 1 pick is gone. I don't know what happened to Spencer
Again,
Burns.
I feel like we will have a disagreement up here in the booth, but what I'm going to say is from our number 1 picks, looks like on the white flag lap here as we come back to the win for Derek Justice, my pick
It looks
prevailed.
like Derek Justice is going to come off of turn number 4 and round the dog leg of the Charlotte Motor Speedway and take the checkered flag in the FTF Grand National Series over Brian Mercurio in the 41. What a drive today by Derek Justice.
Looks like some
Guys,
no
I think
funny
this
business
means
here.
kids get free ice cream.
I don't
That is
believe
not
that is the
what that
fact here,
means.
Will, because Baskin-Robbins doesn't quite understand what's going on today, and I don't think they frankly care that Derek Justice just won this race.
But I bet they would be happy to know Derek Justice won if they did find out.
Yes, they
Well, Derek-
definitely would love to see this exposure that he's giving from the sim racing world to their business of ice cream.
Yes. Well, I could definitely say Derek Justice did everything he needed to do on that final run. Got the good launch and just got out to that comfortable lead. Brian Mercurio was able to close it in here and there, but besides that, Derek Justice had that thing pretty much covered. So, heck of a run by him. Very clean race car, and is now going to do a reverse burnout, burning it down here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yes.
What a
definitely.
sick burnout.
It looks like we're going to see Austin Johnson, who ended up in the 3rd position. Tyler Gary came home 4th. Brandon Hawkins 5th. Sean Theory in 6th. Nate Stewart came home 7th. Cosmin and Issue with a strong run in 8th. Keith Yolanda Sherman gets a solid top 10 in 9th. And Andrew Schwartz will round out the top 10 in 10th. Jake Poulin comes home 11th. Warren Rosario with a strong run in 12th. Sean Butler will come home 13th. Not the ideal situation, but he was able to rally back to a 13th position. Michael P. Frisch also rallies up to 14th after starting 44th on the field. What a crazy drive he had today. Dylan Alt come home 15th after being involved in a caution earlier in the race. Jalen Battle comes home 16th. Kyle Riley 17th. Ryan Williams 18th. David Anderson comes home 19th, and Spencer Esports Burns will round out the top 20. Would anyone like to finish reading off the results, as I'm getting
Absolutely
quite
not.
tired?
Yeah,
Absolutely
so
not.
right now, let me go through the field real quick. Give me 2 seconds.
Don't worry,
Round-
I left early, so I can't.
Finishing off 21st, that is Arnold Columbia. Rounding out 22nd, Cody Atkins. Gary Waterworth, best name in the field, rounding out the field in 23rd. Franklin Ash in 24th. Adam Kodal in 25th. Number 1 of Dylan Smith in 26th. Stefan Abogai in 27th. Don't know your name. Ryan Pandiskisio in 28th. Blake Trawick in 29th.
Trawick.
Justin Malillo in 30th. Yes, 30th. John Dragonetti in 31st. Nick Baker in 32nd. Mike Fallon in 33rd. Chris Progar in 34th. David Schildhouse, unfortunate run for him, finishing the race 4 laps down in 35th. Andy Margot in 36th.
Thank you.
Rich Jameson in 37th. Eric Messer in 38th. Michael Cozy Jr., another unfortunate run there, 39th. And Matt Wisher in 40th. Eric? Oh, wait, no. Everyone else is left. Mark, you want to finish it
Well,
off?
Ryan,
I'll
I'm really
finish
happy
you off
that you
with
stopped.
Brad Perez in 41st. It's time to stop, Will. 42nd of Evan Brinker. Tyler Claybaugh comes home in 43rd. Chris Wetz comes home in 44th. Max R. Brady takes it in 45th place. Evan Rice in 46th after an unfortunate ending to his race. 47th of Kevin McAdams. 48th of Joey Bailey. 49th of Casey Nemetz. Kyler Wynn will come home in 50th. Kane Cook also unfortunately falls out in 51st position. Philip Kraus will come home in 52nd, followed by Craig Hawkins in 53rd. Matt Emerson will come home in 55th position, or 54th position. My bad. Ryan Naraki comes home in 55th. Spencer Preet in 56th. Dalen M. Barr unfortunately came to a very early end in 57th, followed by Colin Keister in 58th and Vincent Furlong in 59th. That'll be your results for the FTF Thunder 100 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, as we're going to get interviews from 3rd, 2nd, and 1st place finishers, starting with Austin Johnson, our 3rd place finisher. Austin, us at the STN booth would like to congratulate you on your 3rd place finish. And how was the race out there today?
It was a lot more fun than I thought. Going into this, I haven't raced any FTF races. I just registered like right before the race even happened, so I wasn't really prepared that much, but came in and I was fast, which I was surprised, to be honest. And the only reason I'm really here is because that wreck that happened with the lap car took out some fast guys, and that was kind of shocking. It happened right in front of me, kind of a Code Brown moment. I'm glad I wasn't in that. It was just kind of luck of the draw where you were at the time.
Yep.
But it was a pretty good race, and had some nice, decent runs. Almost had a green flag pit stop at one point. But
Austin, what did you need more there? Because I saw you were mired back around 6th, 7th place for the race. Then that wreck happened, put you up to 3rd, but then, of course, that's kind of where you stuck for the race.
yeah, Brian and Derek were just really fast. I had nothing for them. I tried to save a lot of tires for the the last long run we had, and it didn't really work out. They were still gaining, so they were just faster.
Yeah, no, definitely. You seem pretty comfortable riding there in the 3rd position. You think you know, if that race would have went any longer, do you think, were you comfortable there? Did you think you were there? How was your speed compared to those around you?
I think I would have been able to keep 3rd if we had a long run, like more laps, I would say. I had pretty good pace when I was saving tires, and maybe I could have caught Brian and Derek, but they were still really fast and good at saving tires.
Now that'll. Do you have anyone you want to shout out before we let you go? Who makes it happen for Austin Johnson in the 54 group?
I just want to thank SPG, Esports, and kind of Spencer and Dylan for even getting me into this race. They're the ones that brought me up to FTF and helped me get here.
All right. Well, thank you for your time and congrats again on your third place.
Yes, thank you for your service.
Got curious.
Now, Brian Mercurio will now join us, our second place finisher. Brian, how was that race out there, and what did you need to be able to catch Derek Justice there in the late stages of the race?
Well, we saw, I think on the second to last restart there, Derek got really tight off of turn 4. So I needed that to happen, but one restart later. So I knew as soon as he was going to get a good jump on any of these restarts, and if I could just keep slotting into second, I'd have a chance. I just needed Derek to make a mistake. Him and I were pretty much neck and neck the entire race, and it was going to be really hard to pass him.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things that I noticed was that under the long runs, you seem to have a little bit of the better car. During those long green flag runs, were you riding right there behind Derek, or were you giving it your all?
For the most part, I was trying to ride. I know I ran a 200 lap race in the B car here about a week or so ago, so I kind of knew what I needed to do. Just changed it a little bit for how this setup drove. Felt a little bit tighter, so just kind of following his line and seeing how he can save tires and everything. But I know for the most part, I would ask him after almost every run what his tires were, and he's pretty much better on the right front for a lot of it. So I knew I was leaning on the right front too much. So for the most part, riding, yes, but at some points, probably with like 25 to go or so, I knew I had to start stepping it up. But I couldn't catch him.
So Brian, hey, Will Rogers here up in the booth. First time caller in here helping these guys up in the FTF booth. Hey man, I gotta say, you were my pick for the night and you let me down. Unfortunately, I know not everybody can win every race, but it is what it is. What do you really need on those restarts? It seemed like you just couldn't figure out where the right foot was on the pedal and couldn't get those jumps on Derek Justice.
Well, Will, I don't appreciate that sass from you. I'm kidding. Will Rogers slow. But for the most part, you really had to restart in first gear. And with being the leader, you have such an advantage that you could just time it as whenever you want. And being on the outside there, I only run on single monitors, so I got to look to the left. I have to, press the button while trying to keep in first, while trying to manage the throttle. So I think I did pretty good in that aspect. That's probably one of my biggest weaknesses on iRacing is starting in second and trying to watch the leader when they go. But I mean, I was able to slot into second pretty much every single time in the final couple restarts. So I was at least happy about that.
Well, Brian, I got to follow it up by saying you've used every excuse in the book now. What I really wanted to ask was when you were going to use that cheat code, because we all know you're a big cheater on iRacing. So we were expecting you to break it out, and obviously it didn't happen. By the way, big fan.
Well, thank you, Will. I know I beat you Lime Rock and IRC that one time, and you're still salty about it. But either way, I felt I had a pretty good run tonight. Yep. You hate to see it for Will.
Brian, it's Eric Webler up in the booth. I don't have anything to say. I just want to say hi.
Eric, I really hope you had a good time tonight. I know you're a very charming and enthusiastic guy, so I can't wait to go back through the broadcast. And
you're going to be really
calls.
disappointed, to be honest. You're going to be extremely disappointed. You're also going to see a lot of me just screwing up, not being able to find the words, just like I did right now.
Yes,
well, unfortunately, none of us were able to find the words tonight. And before we let you go, Brian, who makes it happen for the number 41?
What do you mean, just thank it and whatnot?
Yeah, just who do you want to thank?
Other than me.
Well, as always, for the past couple times I've been in the booth here, always got to give a shout out to my boys at Lowline Racing for everything they're doing here in our campaign for Road to Pro. We got myself, Rajah Karuth, Drew Freenosh, Spencer Burns, Blade Witt, and all the guys who helped build the setups. Shout out to them. The Hot Lap Podcast for being a supporter of Lowline Racing. And Yeah, everybody at FTF for putting it on every week. I know it was kind of a wild experiment putting on with 60 cars here, and we had that kind of wacky restart or initial start. But I mean, for the most part, for the guys who've been doing this for a few years, and for this being the first time running a bunch of cars on a 1.5 mile track, they did a pretty good job.
All right, well, thanks, Brian, for your time, and congrats on the second place finish.
Appreciate it. I hope I can be in here one day after I get a win here.
Yeah, definitely would love to see that. And now, finally, Derek Justice, our winner tonight. Derek, how was it out there, and did what did you do to go from being pretty much anonymous in the first part of the race to being the dominant car of the race?
Well, I wouldn't say dominant at the initial start of the race. I had some rear end damage with Michael Cozy there, and I thought it was going to hinder me for the rest of the race. But unfortunately, it's rear end damage and not nose damage. And to get the track position about midway through, I took 2 tires. When Kane, myself, and Brian and Sean Butler behind me were going through the field when half the people stayed out. So I took 2 tires. It was a good call. Then I told myself I had to get by Mercurio as fast as I can, so I try to power move on the outside and end up sticking and working. And had to defend. I knew Mercurio is fast, and he's always is. So that's about it.
Yeah, definitely. Your restarts were clutch all night. How do you feel? On the long run. We talked about the short run game throughout the broadcast. If that race would have had any more laps to it, how do you think you would have stacked up?
Well, on restarts, if you're a leader, you just got to be so unpredictable. Go to pace speed. Don't try to, slow down or speed up because it's just make you more predictable. If you just stay at 55 and it's going at random times, people are not going to time it. So that's what I try to do.
Absolutely. And Derek, this is Will Rogers up in the booth. Congrats on the win, man. Obviously, on a dominant performance. I will want to say you are one of the only Toyota Supers out there tonight. So feel good in the fact that you beat all the Fords tonight and the Chevrolets. But hey, man, great race. It looks like you had one incredible plan throughout it, had really good opportunities throughout pit stops and through strategy. I wanted to know, how those 31 flavors of Baskin Robbins helped you tonight. It seemed like they really came in clutch.
Well, I will just have to say there is 31 ways to win. There's 31 ways to lose a race. So good thing I chose the one of the 31 ways to win a race. So that's, like I said, just try to be smooth and set a good pace without killing your tires.
Absolutely. And last question real quick. Do kids get free ice cream because you won?
No. I kind of wish. But yeah, if I ever get sponsored, then maybe that might be a thing down the road. But
that's an F in the chat.
Derek, it's Eric while we're in the booth. I don't have anything to say as well as I did. Same thing for Brian. I just want to say congratulations on the win. I was impressed from you fell off at the very beginning, then all of a sudden out of nowhere, I'm like, that 31 car is going to do something here. And sure enough, that 31 went to the lead and held on to it. So congratulations.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Now, before we let you go, anyone you want to thank and let us know who makes it happen for the 31 guys?
Yeah, obviously, first and foremost, thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. And got to thank North Force Racing, Butt Kicker, my Road to Pro team. They've done a lot of work when it comes to Road to Pro season. And obviously, Baskin Robbins, Toyota, and my Twitch chat, very super supportive. Twitch.tv/Justice if you want to check me out. I'm willing to help any tips, any way possible if you want to get faster. Use all the knowledge I know I give out to you guys, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So
I like it, a businessman at heart.
Congratulations on your win tonight, and thank you for stopping by and giving us your time.
I appreciate it, guys.
Yep. And that was a Derek Justice, our winner tonight. So, does anyone have anything else you want to add to the broadcast before we sign off?
I was really glad that you guys had me here for this. I know I wasn't the best broadcaster, but also this was my first time. So, thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Eric, for joining us.
Thank you for having me again. I had no idea I was doing this until 30 minutes before, and I've realized it's now 12:30 Eastern, and it's way past my bedtime, so thanks for keeping me up.
Well, thank you, Will, for joining us.
And thank you guys for having me as well, letting me jump in really late into this broadcast. Hope those watching enjoyed my luscious voice. Will, get yourself some juice and get yourself a nice rest. Eric, thank you for being you as always. And Mark, thank you for being a gracious host.
Yes, well, from the STN Racing booth, I'm Mark Zabeka, and for Eric Webler, Will Rogers, and Ryan Vargas, and Zach Johnson, this has been the FTF Grand National Series, FTF Thunder 150. Thank you for watching, y'all, and we will see you for the next one.
Living room dance floor.